This week on It's Happening Out. Tuesday is the election of a lifetime. Why are we still 50-50 with what we've seen? Bottom shaming. We need you, so why do we shame you? Super drags. Drag cartoon comes to Netflix. Special guest Aaron Phoenix. Special guest Joe Brookman. Featuring Napoleon Plays. DJ Diva Power Infinity. And Al Ferguson.
Well, on behalf of It's Happening Out, we would like to welcome America to the most popular gay live talk show in the United States, It's Happening Out. We are very excited to come to you tonight from the gayest place on planet Earth, Wicked Manors, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We have a very exciting show for you tonight. It's very interesting because where can you tune in anywhere in America where in the same talk show you're going to hear about the election of a lifetime that's only now 5 days away, and in the same show hear about National Power Bottoms Day, all in the same tonight on It's Happening Out. I can't wait to hear Power's thoughts on both of those topics. So, we're really glad that you've tuned in tonight. We ask you first to like our page on Facebook. About 150,000 of you are going to be tuning in into the show tonight, and we really thank you for that. We would ask that you like us and indicate if you are enjoying moments in the conversation, indicate that with hearts and thumbs up. Or boo Power when he's speaking, whatever. No, don't do that. Don't do that. We also have a request that you share us on your personal Facebook page and allow other friends and family to see what's happening in the gay community. The show will be very exciting, so are we ready to begin?
Let's go.
Yes,
All right, here we go.
Dig right into this.
All right, so first off, you might see we are running on the Ever-Ready batteries tonight on It's Happening Out because we did a 2-hour show last night in the gayest place on planet Earth, and Wicked Manors was Halloween last night. We had the mayors of many cities, we had gay media outlets, we had many people, the county's tourism organization, all come out.
Porn stars.
We had porn stars. We had a little bit of everything last night, and 30,000 revelers and costumers last night in what we declared. We talked about the top 5 gay Halloween destinations in America, and we congratulate New York, and we congratulate Vancouver, and we congratulate Los Angeles, but we especially congratulated the #1 gay destination for Halloween in the United States, Fort Lauderdale, Wicked Manors, Florida. We had a great time. Now, we want to show you a little package of what we did last night. We did a big package, perhaps. We did a little trick. We had a 128 square foot Jumbotron on the Wilton Drive last night in Fort Lauderdale, and we broke in with Roger Roa, the director of Wicked Manors, with an emergency announcement from the President of the United States declaring a national emergency through the emergency broadcast system. It was quite interesting. Watch what happened. What do your events raise money for, etc. at the Pride Center? What do you do?
We provide various programs and services for the LGBTQ community and our allies. We provide a safe space. We provide HIV.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. We're getting noticed here. Are you sure that this is correct? I'm being told by the floor producer at the show that we're getting a notice from the AP Press that there is a notice coming in from the emergency broadcast system. I apologize for the interruption. but I'm told by our director that we're getting ready to broadcast this notice.
This is not a test, girl. This is the emergency broadcast system, announcing the commencement of the annual Wicked Manors celebration by the city of Wilton Manors. Partying your pants off has been authorized and sanctioned by the city. All other shenanigans will also be encouraged. Government officials of ranking 10 have been granted immunity and shall be welcome to partake in the festivities. Commencing at the siren, the siren. Any and all partying, including gratuitous nudity, will be legal for 12 continuous hours. Hairdressers, cosmetologists, and clothing designers will be unavailable until tomorrow around, noonish, when Wicked Manors finally concludes. Blessed be our new cast of It's Happening Out and America, a community reborn. May our blessed Mother Monster be with you all. Oh,
It was a great moment in the show. We're a little happy that Halloween is over. We made jokes for weeks that gay Christmas is Halloween. What did y'all think about your experience at Wicked Manors here in Fort Lauderdale?
I thought it was amazing. One, the costumes were out of this world. There were some things I never thought could be created and somebody wear.
Yeah. Amazing costumes. There were
amazing costumes.
Literally, there probably could have been 1,000 world-class costumes.
Oh, there were.
Yeah.
There were.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
Other thoughts about Halloween and Wicked Manors?
You could call it chaotic good.
Good.
Yeah, it was a great time, but it was definitely chaotic. A little confusing at times.
A little confusing,
but
yes. It was very loud.
Yes.
We were in the middle of Wilton Drive, and even with the Jumbotron and our sound, I don't know if you know, of course you all do, gay guys apparently, and girls, like their music, and there were stages all over Wilton Manors, and we were competing with a lot. Other thoughts, Halloween?
My favorite thing to do on Halloween is to dress up as a Pokemon trainer and then find as many Pokemon as I can.
You know, you explained this last night. We didn't understand it last night.
I'm trying to again now.
Okay.
What I like to do is catch all of the Pokemon, and the more naked that they can be, the best. I don't discriminate male or female. I just want to have them all in my Pokeball, and it's something that was instilled in me from a very young age. I want to collect them all.
I want to thank America last night. You don't know this yet, Napoleon, but a fund to help Napoleon speak English has been established, and we're going to be working on that.
Number available below.
All right. Other thoughts about Halloween? Anything else?
Well, interestingly enough, last night for Halloween, I got to actually be Dale. And as you can see, today is Halloween all over again.
Dale versus Power.
Well, I think the bottom line is we had a great time, but can we all agree we're pretty happy Halloween's over?
No.
Yes.
I can't wait till next time.
All right. Let's move into some of our topics.
365.
Topic number one tonight on It's Happening Out is the election. In 5 days, what is being called the election of a lifetime is going to take place on Tuesday. Right before we say anything at all, regardless of what you feel, who you support, on behalf of everyone on this panel at It's Happening Out, we want you to get out and vote on Tuesday. Get out and vote, regardless of what you want.
And you don't need to wait till Tuesday. There are plenty of early voting locations.
Exactly.
There's no excuse.
Yes.
No excuse.
The old joke, vote early, vote often. Exactly. All right. The thing that's interesting about what's happening on Tuesday is we have heard about 50 million words in every place on planet Earth about this election on Tuesday, the midterms. Interestingly enough, in the battles that have taken place over the last 6-7 months, we are still in the exact same place that where we started. We are 50-50. My question is, how is it possible we are still in the same place with just our election 5 days from now? How is that possible?
I mean, we need to get real, honestly. Like, the fact that we shouldn't be surprised that we're 50-50. We really shouldn't. This whole country was built by slave labor and sexism on stolen land. Plain and simple. So why are we surprised today that we've still got this 50-50 split on bigotry and, you know, discrimination, racism, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's the same old for America, really.
Are you saying that 50% of this country are bigots?
Not necessarily, no. But I am saying that
that's
it's
what
not
you said.
surprising that we're so divided because this country is built on ideals that come down to bigotry and racism. Absolutely.
So wait, but that was 200 years ago.
Yeah, but was it though?
Yes, it was.
I mean, it was 200 years ago, but we've still got a lot more of the same still today that is taking an awful long time to evolve.
Do you think that's what's dividing us? Because I don't.
Well, what
I think
is
it's a big
it
part
that's
of it,
dividing?
yeah, absolutely.
I don't.
All right, you make your point. What is it that's dividing us?
I think there's a lot of tribalism that's dividing us in social voting on maybe social issues versus foundational issues in terms of budgets and security and.
What do you mean by social issues? Because social issues are political issues.
Well, they aren't. It depends on what your priorities are. You know, if being gay and or gay issues are your number one priority, then you're going to vote there. But if you want a small government or physical conservancy or a strong military, then what are you going to vote for?
That all
What's
ties into
first
the
or
same
second
thing,
on
though.
your
That's
list?
why we say the personal is political. It's not about being gay being your priority of your life. It's about, you know, your rights being a priority of your life. How you're allowed to live your life or not. That's the personal is political. There's no truer statement when it comes to
But there are people that have struggled with that more so in their lifetime, such as yourself, who is a trans activist that has to really deal with that on a day-to-day basis. That might not be something that Joe or others have had to deal with on a regular basis.
Right. Well, and that's kind of part of the problem when it comes to politics in general is that a lot of people in our country don't think outside of themselves. They don't think about what other groups might be going through, might have to go through as a result.
Why is it that a lot of people feel that if it doesn't affect them, it just isn't important, period. It doesn't affect them, it doesn't affect anybody. I think the fact that we're still divided over issues that right now in this place and time are not even so much political or left and right. I really think it's a lot of right and wrong. And I mean basic right and wrong. And I really think that people should vote their conscience and not necessarily their party. Because in this day and age, parties are all flip-flopped. The Republican Party of today is not the same Republican Party that even I respected years ago. So I think that the things that we're seeing today in our lifetime and in our country right now, I think people really need to vote their conscience.
You make an interesting point, and I've said this before, and it always shocks people. Al is a registered Republican. I am. I've been a registered Republican since 1992. But what I did in the early 90s, to your point, I do not even recognize the Republican Party today. I couldn't vote in 98% of, no disrespect, Joe, we're really glad you're here, but I couldn't vote for 98% of the people that represent the Republican Party because it's been commandeered into a radical, from my standpoint, and many people argue from the Democratic side that it's also extremely radical, and all of us that are trying to find a middle, we can't seem to find a place. And that, I think, is the point of this conversation. 5 days away and we're still 50-50. We're either voting or siding with our tribe, or we can't find the middle ground of going, what is reasonable?
Right. Well, I was going to say, I don't think that we can necessarily, like you said, it's about right versus wrong. And that doesn't mean right versus left. The Democratic Party is not right about everything either. I myself am non-party affiliated, which is frustrating when it comes to primaries in Florida.
Because then you have no say at all.
Well, no, that's not true.
In a primary.
Because I register for one or the other during the primary, and then register back, or unregister, I should say, afterwards. So, but the point being that I look at the Democratic candidates as an example for the congressional seat in my district this year. I would rather choose the third party because her politics, her morals align with mine. But at the same time, I feel like I'm up against the Republican candidate who is so radical and so much worse than the Democratic one. And I feel like I'm not going to be able to prevent some really awful things from happening if I don't.
You
vote
make a
against
really
it.
interesting point that I put out in front of you. There's a lot of people that are saying that we are so close in our election on Tuesday, the 50-50 philosophy, that your point is really what is going to swing the election.
Right.
The libertarians that are in many, especially of the congressional races and some of the Senate races, will only capture maybe 2% of the vote.
Right.
But the 2% of the vote will end the Democratic chance of that candidate in the race because they pulled the 2% away. What do you think about that?
It's frustrating as hell. It's
Well, that's
absolutely
your point
frustrating as
that
hell.
you've just made.
Yeah, because I would rather, I can't vote my conscience, as Power said, because otherwise then I'm sabotaging essentially a better candidate.
What do you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Speaking on voting your conscience, do you all even, I know I don't, believe that everyone should have the right to vote. I know that that's part of democracy, that everyone should be given the right to vote when they turn 18 because then that's when they get intelligent. But does everyone at this table even believe every person deserves the right to vote?
If you're a U.S. citizen, yes, you have the right to vote.
Yeah.
Because of the law.
In fact, I think that Amendment 4, by the way, vote yes to restore voting rights for felons who have served their time, especially. Yeah, absolutely. I believe everybody has the right
Amendment
to
4
vote.
is an amendment, a constitutional ballot amendment in the state of Florida to allow convicted felons to be restored the right to vote.
Right.
Is what you're
Once
talking
they've
about.
served their time, yeah, absolutely.
Let me ask you one other thing related to the election of a lifetime on Tuesday. What do you think about, you make a terrific point about the libertarian 2% that siphons off votes. We're a gay talk show. We're the most popular live gay talk show in America. How does it land on you when I say in 2016, when arguably we were in the most important election of our lifetime, and then that 54% of gay America did not vote at all? What do you think about that?
Well, that gets me very angry. I mean, we could tell in 2016 how important the election was. And for gay America, 54% to sit on their ass and say, well, girl, I'm too fab to get involved. I bet they don't think they're too fab now. You know, those same people that thought, oh, well, Hillary has it, or I just can't be bothered, I bet they don't think they can't be bothered now. You know, which is why I said on last week's show, you know, and I directed this toward trans, but this really goes toward our whole community. You know, don't sit there and allow others to fight for you, because you are literally voting for your life. You're literally voting for your life. So you need to get up off the sidelines and actually get in the fight. Vote for your rights, vote for your stand, vote for your voice. That's your power.
I completely agree with that. Joe, I want to turn to you to the exact point in terms of your observation. It might be a little bit different, but
It is a bit different, but there is a whole segment that is kind of the untold voter segment out there that have an opinion and voted Republican or whatever, but they won't discuss it. And the reason they won't discuss it is because when they open their mouth, they're immediately, criticized or shouted down, and it's like, okay, I can't have that opinion. Well, so they stay silent. So I think in 2016 there was a lot of silent majority because people were like, you know what, I'm not going to get in this fray. I'm going to vote what's important to me. I'm not going to get in the fray. I'll not talk about it with you. and go forward.
Well,
So-
I'll just save it for Facebook.
I would just like to say really quick, I don't agree with those that vote Republican. That's true. However, I would much rather you take a stand on something than sit your ass down and take a stand on nothing.
I agree. I agree.
So I do.
At least you voted, right?
Yes.
At
So
least you vote.
even if you're silent, you don't have any obligation to go around espousing your views, but vote. And so
Absolutely.
I don't have any problem with those that were silent. I mean, aside from I wish they would have voted my way, but I don't have a problem with those that were silent. I have a problem with those that, like you said, the 54% that didn't do shit.
I will tell you a brief story. My mother taught government for 30 years to seniors in high school. If you turned 18 during your senior year in high school and you did not register to vote, she would not pass you. And her
I love your mother.
And her perspective, now we all grew up Democrats, but that was kind of the blue Democrats. But as she taught government, it was like, no, don't believe anybody. If you're going to have a stand, own your stand. Own what you believe and go for the person who believes in the same things that you believe. But own it. Don't follow blindly.
Well,
and so much of these past few elections is people are just blindly following.
On both sides.
On both sides. On both sides.
Well, in summary, in our conversation about why we're 50-50, we echo how we start this segment. Tuesday is really important to you, regardless of which tribe you live in,
Yes.
which minority you live in, which majority you live in. It's really, really important. And I think we all unanimously agree. There's various opinions on this panel, but the one thing that we agree about is get out and vote on
Exactly.
Tuesday.
Yes.
That's the most important thing to do.
These
All
are
right.
arguably much more important even than the presidential.
Yeah, I agree with you. We want to move on and we want to play a game. A game that we like. It's called My New Favorite Thing. And each of us, the panelists, tell you about something that they learned about or something that they really enjoyed this week. Who would like to start? My new favorite thing.
Okay, well, I'll start.
All right.
Because I've been holding this for like 3 weeks.
That was a read, by the way, America. That was a read.
So my new favorite thing is the fact that West Side Story is going to get a remake. The old West Side Story, which everybody knows or should know, is
Nobody wants to live in America now.
Steven Spielberg is remaking the movie, and he did
As a musical? Or is it going to be a drama?
It is a musical. It's a musical.
By Steven Spielberg.
And he did a nationwide cast call. As a matter of fact, on October 29th in Miami Beach, there was a cast call because they're still casting for the movie. The guy that is playing.
Don't tell me you auditioned for Maria.
That's what I was waiting for.
Well, he did ask me, but I have to do this show, so I don't have time. I don't even think Maria has been cast yet, but the guy that is playing Tony is the actor Ansel Elgort, and he's been cast to play Tony. So I cannot wait till this movie comes out. Everything Steven Spielberg does is absolutely genius, and I believe this is his first musical, so this should be an amazing
That's great.
feat.
Somebody else, my favorite new thing.
Okay, I know I'm. My new voice is my new favorite thing. No, I know I'm the Mario nerd. Today they announced the last final character for Super Smash Brothers, and it is a piranha plant. So those things that you know from Mario 64 that would just shoot fire at you, and they're like big Venus flytraps. Those things are now a character, and the internet is going crazy because they have little tiny feeties. They have little tiny feeties underneath of the pipe, and the whole world is going insane because you can just be this plant that gets to walk along with its little feeties. It's so cute.
Could please someone in our live feed on the show translate what is happening and give me a message?
He's a PD piranha.
I'm totally confused.
Everyone should know a
take a whole
piranha
class
plant.
now.
All right. It was what?
It would take a whole class to get you up to speed on that. I understood you this time, Napoleon, which I know is rare for
I
us,
read
but-
from you in support of Napoleon?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, well, all right. Other
when it goes back to grammar school.
All I can think of is Dory,
Anyone else?
with what my
New
children
thing?
watched.
Yeah, Yes, and don't make fun of me for being mushy, but my new favorite thing is my new family here, and it's happening out. Oh. Yeah, I know. I do have a heart. In seriousness, it's been really cool. It's a new experience for me to be having been raised a girl and all that, to be working around all men, all cisgender men, and I'm enjoying seeing the examples of non-toxic masculinity.
Oh,
for
that's
change.
an awesome.
He's the toxic.
I'll fight you.
But really, behind the scenes, all of our production staff, all of our crew, they're incredible people, and they're teaching me a lot, even though they brought me on to teach them.
I just have to tell you that phrase lands on me so positively. To hear a trans man say non-toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
That is
It
an
is a thing.
awesome phrase.
It is a
awesome
thing.
phrase. Anything for you?
I was going to do something, but I'm just going to echo what Aaron said, because this casting crew, my theme has been family, and it really does operate as a family.
So it's kind of amazing, and it was amazing last night,
great.
and week to week. So
That's
thank
great,
you all.
Joe.
And your daughter just got married, so that's
And it's all about family.
Let me tell you my favorite thing.
has to
And
be
this
about
is
that.
going to surprise you. It happened today. I had no plans to tell you this. My favorite new thing is Oprah Winfrey. Let me tell you why. Oprah Winfrey is in Atlanta as we speak, and today has been campaigning
Stumping for
for
Stacey Abrams.
and stumping for the first potentially black female gubernatorial candidate in American history for Georgia, Stacey Abrams. And it's an amazing thing that's happening. She did a rally, and it happens today, where in a world that we have watched big rallies that have chanted, with big rallies of large numbers of people chanting, lock her up, or CNN sucks, CNN sucks. And Oprah Winfrey today led a chant with Stacey Abrams in Georgia going, you've got to vote, and you've got to vote, and you've got to vote. And everyone in the rally chanted it. And I thought, my goodness, this black woman who has become an institution in America transcends all of the tribalism that we're talking about. Good for Oprah Winfrey, my favorite new thing.
Yes.
It wasn't just a read because Power didn't like A Wrinkle in Time.
Can I just quickly add that Mike Pence was campaigning, he was stumping for whatever the other guy's name is.
Whoever.
And he knew that Oprah was stumping for Stacey Abrams, and he said on his in his speech, I'm important too. Mike, you are important, you're just not as important as Oprah.
That's right, exactly right. All right, let's move on. Now, I told you at the top of the show, where else in America can you talk about the election of a lifetime in 5 days, and the fact that 2 days ago was National Power Bottom Day. What can you say? All right. We're doing a segment that we teased you at the top of the show called Tops versus Bottoms, and bottom shaming. It's an issue in our community. We have words in our vernacular where we make fun of the role that bottoms play in the gay community. And a new study has come out which is very interesting. The study surveyed a very large number of gay identifying men and found something very interesting. Combined with men that chose and said, I identify as a bottom, combined with those that identified as being versatile but that leaned being a bottom, those two combined numbers of gay men in America totaled 74% identified as a bottom or versatile but preference to bottom, which meant 26% of gay men in America identify as a top. Interesting. All top. Interesting point of the study was, why do we shame the men that if you are an identifying top, all top, why do you shame in your vernacular the guys that you need? And even more important, if you identify that way, why do you shame yourself? What does this new study tell us?
I think it's cultural holdover. I think the past, in terms of how men and women operated from a sexual place, it was always dominance and submissive. And while we're gay, I think all of that in the holdover in terms of the value of the woman, whether it was 200 years ago when they were property or whatever, or in Asia they were property, that's been transferred into gay culture, so that there is shaming.
But if that's true, and that does kind of ring true to me, it's a standard that if there was any community that knew not to do that because of what we've experienced, it should be the gay community.
You would think so. You would think so.
Let me ask you then specifically, Al, why do you do
Everybody's
it?
laughing at me.
Like, you specifically do it. So what is it about you that makes you want to do that? To
call
call somebody
out.
else? Call him out. He's like, oh, don't be a bunch of girls. Don't be just a bottom. You do it more than anyone I know at this table. Why do you do it?
I remember
Wait, let's
ever
do that pause
using.
thing that.
Of course, I don't remember because you have the testosterone running, so it lines your memory.
All right. So the question becomes, why do we do it? What's behind it?
Well, what's also between shaming and fun, okay? Because there's a lot of fun in going back and forth as to what your preference is
Now
or
wait.
whatever.
I want to catch you right there in that observation. Would blacks or Latinos or trans or any other minority segment group say it's all in good fun?
No, they wouldn't.
Then it's not fun.
Wait, say that again.
But what's
Joe's
what's
point
in the
is
balance?
that we do that. Now, I'm not talking about political correctness, but I jump
But there is
right
a bit
in.
There is a bit of that in what you said, though.
In that we should be okay with the joke, is what your point is.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there's
What do y'all
okay.
think?
There's okay with the joke, and then there's a going a little too far into like an overall cultural phenomenon, so to speak. Where we absolutely. I mean, we shame femininity, and I have to agree with you. We shame femininity in our society in general, and the fact that you were surprised or say that gay men should know better. I laughed at that because I've
everyone at
lived
the
as a
table
woman
laughed when
and
I
I've
said
lived
that.
as a gay man, and I will tell you without a doubt in my mind that absolutely gay men are some of the worst people that I have encountered when it comes to shaming femininity and shaming women. And it seems like I make the joke sometimes that gay men seem to forget they have mothers because of the absolute discrediting of women in general. Yeah, it's but I mean 74% bottoms. It explains a lot about the struggles in some of our sex lives. Can I just say, hard top is good to find. I mean, a good top is hard to find.
I do agree with
Wait. Did you just do a joke of did the trans participant of our panel say a hard top is hard to find?
And good to find.
And good to find.
Absolutely.
I agree with Joe that it's kind of a holdover from this shame or this feeling that this idea that we have that bottoms are inferior or less than or weaker than. I think we need to change our thinking and realize that there is power in the mangina.
Hello.
And so therefore you can't shame the shameless. If we as a community realize the power of the mangina and stop this idea that because you're a top you are better, greater than, or more superior to, then all that shaming would eventually stop.
I'm curious to that point. Very interesting to me. How do you balance the observation you just made and something that Aaron has coined in terms of the big dick energy? How do you balance the two? How do they live in the same space?
Well,
I mean, big dick energy does not have to negate the power of the mangina either. There's power in both. They could live very happily together.
I thought I was the only one at the table with one of those, just saying. Just throwing it out there. I love your power, but I hate when gay men use that word. I really do. Mangina or boy pussy or whatever.
Trust me,
Because
darling, that is
listen,
not exclusive to no trans
I'm
girl.
not. Hey, listen.
Y'all not gonna claim that.
We're gonna sit over here for a few minutes.
I will cower over in this corner, yes.
Discriminate against a whole group of people and then turn around and use the word.
I don't discriminate against nobody, so I can say mangina all I want.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I don't know about y'all.
In a dom sub scene, a lot of the times it is actually the one that's submissive that has the power. Not just submissive, but also the one being penetrated.
Yeah.
They're the ones that have to agree to everything. They're the ones that have the safety nets put over them, literally, figuratively. A lot of times the person being penetrated is actually the one that has more power.
That is right.
So despite these numbers and saying that it's dominant submissive,
I understand your point, and it washes over me of sounding correct, because in straight relationships, the reason why they have ladies' night is because the lady is the triumphant winner in the bar. They are the power in the bar. But the question here is just like discriminating against women. Why are we discriminating against the bottom? Why is our vernacular saying negative things about the bottom, just like women?
I think it is the holdover, and I think it's a learning process and an educational process.
Yeah, we've got to examine our own sexism.
Yeah.
Is what it really comes down to.
And it comes down to, when we shame a bottom, we're being sexist. That's what you just
That's
said.
what it's rooted in. That's what it's rooted in.
and I think a lot of people have shame in being a bottom as well, or in even being penetrated. It takes a level of vulnerability that topping does not take. And so it allows us and forces us to open up, not just literally, but figuratively, part of ourselves to accept more of who we are.
It's a fascinating news survey. You should read all about it. It says a lot about the gay
And next
community.
week, part 2 of this, slut shaming. What do we think about that?
Yeah, all right. Let's move on to an interesting
That
game.
one's all about power.
A game that we play at It's Happening Out called This or That. Everybody's familiar with the game, and what we do is we give you 2 choices, and you choose this or you choose that. And a short explanation as to why. It's really interesting. So, everybody ready to begin?
Let's go.
Nobody's going to look at my card
Let's go.
in advance.
Let's go.
No one on the panel knows any of these questions.
Let's do it.
Question number 1, this or that. So as not to create too much a divide in our country or anything else, we want to know, in this day and age of one of the most controversial topics we can select, this, burgers or that, tacos?
Burgers.
Well, it's Dia de los
Burgers.
Muertos, and as the Mexican
I just
at the
love a
table,
good
I think I'm
hamburger.
obligated to say tacos.
Tacos?
This is the argument from Beast Boy and Cyborg from Teen Titans. I'm gonna go with tacos because they can often be vegetarian and they're tasty.
Burgers. I'm a vegetarian. I eat both.
I wouldn't eat a vegetarian burger again.
What do you think? Tacos.
You
All
can't,
right.
You can't grill tacos.
Question 2.
I will teach you.
Last night I made you choose between Slytherin or Gryffindor from Harry Potter. Would you now, let's refocus, rather be this, a loyal House of Hufflepuff, or that, an intelligent Ravenclaw?
I choose Ravenclaw, absolutely. When you said Slytherin or Gryffindor, I really wanted to say Ravenclaw, but I knew I'd be breaking the rules.
Yes, breaking the rules, right?
I don't know enough about it to answer that. So.
All right.
You'd be a Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw, definitely for me. Yes, I agree with you, Aaron.
Napoleon.
I would aspire to be more of a loyal Hufflepuff. I'm a Scorpio. I'm not inherently as loyal as I'd like to be. So you better watch out this room.
All right. Question 3. Personal touch or a matter of convenience? This, handwriting a letter, or that, typing it out?
Typing.
Handwriting a letter is very much a personal touch, and in the day and age where people send emails and everything is typed
I
and
suspect we're
messaged,
getting ready to find out something very interesting at the table. Handwriting or typing it out?
I have to say typing it out. I mean, come on, we got too much going on. I'm busy, and I just need to hurry up and get the point across. And typing with thumbs, texting, even better.
Yeah.
Voice texting,
Do you agree?
even better.
I like to handwrite, but the reality is that no one can read what I write, so I need to type it out, or it is just a useless piece of information. It might as well just be a spitball.
What do you think, Power?
It really depends on how much I love the person. So I would say, if I love you, handwriting.
So I want a lot of handwritten
Now,
messages from
I
you,
just want
Power.
to point out something interesting. A certain age on the panel wrote selected handwriting. A certain age on the panel type. One is much more personal, and I wonder, 10 years from now, are we going to continue to move in a direction of being more and more impersonal? It's not something we're going to get into now.
Can this be read on camera?
Question 4. Fashion is sexy. What do you prefer on your most sharply dressed man?
Ooh, nothing.
This, a necktie, or that, a bow tie?
Oh, this is why you don't have a bow tie on tonight. Okay.
It is. It is. This or that, necktie or bow tie?
I'm going with necktie because they can get a little kinky and be used for some other things.
Okay.
Just saying.
Other thoughts?
If the man can actually tie the bow tie, then it exhibits a lot of skill set, and I really want to know more about him. So I want a hand-tied bow tie.
That's a good answer. This, necktie, or that, bow tie?
I like a bow tie.
I've seen you have beautiful bow ties, by the way.
I'm more of a necktie type of person.
And why?
I don't know. Maybe it's longer, and I like long things on the
That's a good answer, too. Next question. World domination. Who is a greater threat to America? This, Russia, or that, ourselves?
I'll answer that. Ourselves right now. Ourselves.
Absolutely.
I agree, ourselves.
I thought ourselves were Russia.
No,
So-
I just don't think we appreciate what we have. There's so many people that don't appreciate the value and the freedoms that we have and the opportunities that we have.
I mean, my answer came more from a place of talking about domestic terrorism, honestly. I think we have to worry about the people here who want to harm us.
I mean, I was just in Ecuador, and if you go to Ecuador and you hear about the government and some of the lack of opportunity, lack of jobs, lack of security, you start to appreciate this nation and why so many people want to come here, because we have so much available to us. But there's a whole generation of I want and I'm entitled to, and they need to go overseas and live for a
they're
while.
all baby boomers.
Next question. I'm going to push this on. What scares you more? This, the thought of skydiving for 5 minutes, or that, the thought of being on a submarine for a week? What scares you more? Skydiving?
skydiving.
The submarine scares me more. I actually have always wanted to go skydiving.
Submarine. I'm claustrophobic. There's no way. I would freak out.
I'm really scared of submarines, and I had too many reenactments of Titanic. I can't do that.
Got it.
I will for a video, but I won't. I'm terrified.
Last question. The sexiest man that has been on It's Happening Out. Now, there have been many. This is not a reflection of these are the only ones, but we're asking you to play this or that. Sexiest man who has been on this show. This, Wicked Manors director Roger Roa, or that, drink co-owner David Ardeline. This or that?
Definitely David.
Why do you ask these kind of questions?
Roger's a sweetheart, but David is just a little more rugged, and he's a little more sexy.
Okay.
I agree with Aaron. David.
You like David?
Yep. He's got a little fur going.
Little fur?
I don't take sloppy thirds. I'll go with Roger.
Roger. All right. Power.
Okay, so it's no shade. Roger is very, very cute. But for me, David gets my vote not because he's here, not because we're at drink, but actually because his personality, if you guys saw last week's show, his personality is just everything.
Wait, it's an interesting point. And we've said this. David's response to the sports segment was so awesome, and it was because his personality bubbled over everything. Good job, David. We really appreciate it. And David is happily married now, so
Wait,
Aaron, we love you, Aaron. We love you. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about a cultural event that happened last night at Halloween. One of the things that Halloween and Wicked Manors and all over America last night got us thinking. There were a lot of costumes that we thought were inappropriate. There were people in blackface in some places around America. There was a big story that took place of a father in Tampa that made the national news over the weekend where he dressed as a Nazi stormtrooper and dressed his 8-year-old son as Adolf Hitler. It's called cultural appropriateness. And we asked, does Halloween allow us in the gay community to exhibit insensitivity? What do you think? Does it? Costuming.
It shouldn't. It shouldn't at all. Anybody walking around in blackface, let me just tell you right now, because it's a big deal with me on social media. I read the girls for this. Anybody walking around in blackface is a walking symbol of racism. Let me just put it out just right there. Point blank. For those of you who do not understand, and there are actually some of my own gay friends that do not understand and have made excuses for people that have worn blackface. Let me just tell you, the origins of blackface, it traces back to the minstrel shows in the mid to late 19th century. All right, white actors depicted plantation slaves, and not in a flattering way. Okay, it was reinforced. It reinforced the idea that blacks were subservient and less than whites. And even the very term Jim Crow was derived from an 1832 blackface minstrel number by Thomas D. Rice. So blackface is not a good look, and it's 2018. Everybody should know that by now. Also, anybody walking around wearing, Native American wear and or Nazi wear, all that shit is for the bird. Don't do it. It's not the look. You're gonna get red.
So you do think it is insensitive?
It's
clearly
highly insensitive.
And you think it's equally insensitive, not just in blackface, but in any other color, such as whiteface?
Well, it's different. I do think it's different, because what is the history of whiteface?
The history of whiteface is actually to make fun of the Irish, because they had similar quirks as what you would present in blackface. So whereas blackface was meant to call black people monkeys and less than, whiteface was meant to do the same thing to the Irish, make them seem less than, make them seem subhuman.
I mean, okay, but as long as people are still being killed for having black skin, then I'm gonna say, how fucking dare you to wearing blackface?
I didn't know that, and I don't know. I didn't know that about the Irish. Yep. So if that's the case, then yes, it would be insensitive. But I just think that anybody that is trying to cross those type of lines, I think it's just very, very risky.
What's the balance between freedom of speech and freedom of expression and being insensitive?
Well, here's the balance. You are, once again, you have the freedom of speech and freedom of expression. You're not going to go to jail for wearing blackface. Mm-hmm. But once again, that's the difference between right and wrong. Just because something is free in this country doesn't mean it's free of consequence.
That's a very interesting
That's
point.
true. That's true. But again, what's the balance between somebody having a freedom of expression? Where's the balance? Is it if one person
do you mean in terms of political correctness? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe in terms of political correctness, where you might have 1 in 500 that expresses this, and then they're shouted down.
Wait, I'm curious in terms of something that might wash over you. Last night, on our special for Wicked Manors, I was going to come in a blue blazer and a red tie and a Make America Great red hat. And after I watched that story of the father in Tampa of doing the stormtroopers, and I'm not making the comparison of that in any way.
I saw it.
But I decided, no, I don't want to do that because it just felt inappropriate. And so I was self-censoring myself of going, I don't want to be insensitive to people that feel wearing the hat might be inappropriate. How does that wash over you?
No, I agree with that. You need to personally own whether you're going to be sensitive to somebody else's feelings. But governing what somebody else does in terms of their self-expression is something that I don't know that we can stop.
Who's governing? If if you do something and because of your actions you get a reaction, that's not governing. That is a reaction to something that you've done. Governing is saying you cannot do that. Nobody is telling you you cannot do that. Yeah. But if you do something and you then, because of what you do, get a reaction that you don't like, you can't look at that and say, well, oh girl, they're governing me. No, girl, they're letting you know they don't see it.
Yeah. Wait. I want to.
You have to understand. People have a right and a freedom of expression, but that goes both ways.
It does.
You have a right to do what you want to do, and people have a right to react.
Guys, you'll have to forgive me. I want to end it there because I want to summarize. It is a new phrase that I have recently not heard of before, and it's called cultural appropriation.
Right.
And it's something that we've got to get more into.
Yes.
It's very topical for us tonight because we're tired of post-Halloween, and we saw a lot of costumes. Even in Wicked Manors last night, Native Americans, I bet I saw 100 costumes. And I wondered how it would wash over the Miccosukee tribe and the Seminole tribe here that are just 30 minutes away of what they would have thought.
I actually thought I saw somebody in blackface, but then I looked and it was actually a black person, so I didn't read. Seriously.
All right, that was a funny joke.
They were serious.
Funny joke. All right, let's play another game. Our game is kind of a negative game. Our negative game is I have never been a fan of. Tell us something you've never been a fan of.
Friends.
You've never been a fan? Oh, the television
show.
I thought... Sorry, I didn't hear that right. I was going to say, how appropriate. The Log Cabin Republican has no friends and he's never been a fan of it. The television show.
The television
okay,
show.
Got it. All right. I have never been a fan of. That's funny. I've never been a fan of.
I've never been a fan of painting my face.
Really?
You really enjoyed just pulling that hood over your head last night.
I absolutely hate. People don't understand. After almost 25 years in the industry, traveling all over the world, I hate painting my face. I absolutely hate it. Some performers and some drag queens love playing makeup. I absolutely hate it. It's a part of the job that I absolutely despise. I would rather jerk off with a handful of razor blades.
And then you can paint your face with blood.
Let me tell you a quick story that is always interesting to me. Bianca Del Rio is by far the most successful queen ever in RuPaul's Drag Race. Bianca is kind of how would you describe the face? You do it for me. Bianca Del Rio's face, in terms of the kind of clownish. I'm trying to find the right word.
Avant-garde.
Okay, well, all right.
Call it bizarre drag.
Of course, I've done the RuPaul cruise for years and years and years, and Bianca has been on it a number of times, hosted the roast of Michelle Visage, etc. Bianca is the most successful queen ever of the 10 seasons of RuPaul. She is funny.
She's hilarious.
And he is funny as Roy and could be just as successful, except the makeup defines him. Yeah. So he is always going to be Bianca, which is your point. And he would like to be free of it, but once you classify yourself, you're classified.
It's the same thing with me and DJing. I would love to DJ as Dale, but I feel like I've branded myself as Power, and when people hire me, they hire Power as the DJ. They don't hire Dale.
Yeah, understand. Anything else?
Yeah, I don't like crayons. I've never been a fan of crayons. I think they're a shitty gift for children. I don't understand parents that give kids crayons thinking that you can draw with them. They just break off in half.
Let me give you the English translation of what the guy from Maryland is saying. He means crayon.
I know.
Crayons.
All right.
I studied IPA. I know crayons, the little wax things. There's so much more fun things you can do with wax. You can melt them.
You never liked the 180 color boxes.
I'd rather have markers. I'd rather have Sharpies or oil pastels that blend together. Crayons are stupid, and whoever invented them needs to come up with a better hobby. But he's probably dead because they're ancient.
Something you've never been a fan of?
I don't know if I've got one this week.
You can hate crayons with me.
Sure.
Let's move on. We want to show you something about something that's coming to Netflix. Drag has penetrated the straight community. Yay!
Drag penetrated.
By the
streets.
way, it was just announced today that RuPaul is going to have a Christmas special where she's going to have a competition reality show at Christmas. One episode where 8 queens are going to battle it out on like the 12th of December. So for all of you that don't get enough of
Oh my
RuPaul,
God, we need Mary Berry there with her soggy bottoms.
Let's talk about Netflix. Netflix has a new animated show called Super Drags. And it's a superhero, kind of an a la Marvel superheroes that are all drag queens that save the world. And before we talk about it, look at this.
It's the Super Drags! Now, sisters! Mama's gonna suck every last bit of highlights from those queers. Super Drags, save our sisters! Suck all that, bitch!
It's dragging time!
Well, it's an interesting new series that's coming on Netflix. Animated superhero drag queens.
So you know I'll be watching it. I've basically always assumed Wonder Woman was a drag queen. She just spun around and became one. I'm so excited for any new form of female superhero. We need that in our culture, and they are going to be the baddest bitches we could have.
But the joke is they're not female. They're drag queens.
But they're not biologically female, and then we're getting into that whole conversation as to
I don't know.
what...
I hated the preview, honestly. I think it's super cliche. I do. More RuPaul on a satellite screen, oh boy. And then the black girl is the brawn
You
queen.
could
like,
go to hell
come on.
for what you just
So
said.
cliche.
I agree.
It's
Go.
just, listen, it's 2018 and the gays deserve better TV. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
I don't know. I've seen Rick and Steve. It wasn't that great.
Any other thoughts?
Look how he's looking at me because I'm the drag queen. I have to have a thought on it.
But
I
you're
ain't got
just
nothing to
a
say.
drag
You
queen,
ain't
not a
got
super
nothing to say.
drag
That's
queen.
enough.
I ain't got
Any
nothing
thoughts
to
about
say.
super drag?
It's going to be interesting to see.
Do you think the Log Cabin Republicans or the DC Republican Central Committee is really excited to see super drag?
There are some, yes, that are, because they're drag queens.
I bet you're going to dress up every single night and watch that show as it airs.
Yeah.
I want to be part of that party.
All right. Well, Super Drags is coming to Netflix, and we'll watch it, and we'll come back to you and tell you
I'll
if it's
check it
any
out.
good. Yeah, we'll check it out. All right, let's talk a little bit about politics. Stonewall 50 is coming to New York City next June. We ask ourselves the question of many of the Pride events today. Is Stonewall 50 the anniversary, which is going to be at World Pride, New York Pride, all combined together? Is it politically significant to us, or is it just a justification for a big party? Real short topic conversation. Which is it?
The two are not mutually exclusive. You know, look where we've come from in 50 years. 50 years ago, homosexuality was deemed a mental illness. Gay sex was outlawed in all states except for like Illinois. And now, you know, we have people that work in every level, in every field, politics, entertainment. We're able to marry. We've come so far. So why not celebrate all our strides? You know, we can do both.
Okay.
Exactly.
Do both?
I think it's important not to bring in the Bible here, but God has always established monuments, things to remember, celebrations, so that we understand.
So your
and
reference
never
is there's
forget.
a time for everything under heaven from the Bible.
There is, but it's all about remembering the journey,
Dance.
right? And having something where you celebrate on a regular basis, so that everybody else doesn't forget what was done, what was sacrificed, as you pointed out, in order to get here. So it is really important that we both celebrate but also remember.
The two biggest prides that I've ever been to were in India and Israel, and in both of those locations, homosexuality was either legal or barely legal. In India, people had to wear costumes to not be stoned to death and not lose their jobs. At Tel Aviv, a friend of mine, 5 feet in front of me, was stabbed because he was celebrating his sexuality. What Pride is today in the States is amazing. It's a big party. It helps us to come out and be proud of who we are. But it is not the struggle that it once was that this 50 years celebrates. And it would be great to have a return to our roots, to know what people have really dealt with before us.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we've got to do both. We've got to celebrate and honor our history. They're one and the same to me.
We're starting to plan for Stonewall 50. It'll be the last weekend in June of 2019. Next thing we want to talk about. There was news that came out this week. We're getting ready to, by the way, after this, play Drinks Drink, so everybody get ready at home. We are talking about the new self-lubricating condom that has been announced by the Royal Society. It's a report in the Open Science Journal, and a new condom is coming that is self-lubricating. I don't quite understand how this works yet, but the condom is designed to promote condom use, and the self-lubrication is designed to encourage you to use the condom. And one of the features is it's designed to stand up instead of the normal 600 thrusts of a regular normal condom. This new super condom that is self-lubricating stands up to 1,000 thrusts.
Oh my god. Can we have a game where we get these condoms and we all 5 put these on bananas and try to get them to give out of lube as quickly as possible?
A new game
1,000 thrusts.
happening out. What do y'all think about new self-lubricating condoms? Do you think it's going to help?
I'm already good for 1,000 thrusts, so I don't need a special condom for that. Just saying. One of the few advantages of being trans. But I mean, trans men can still get pregnant, or many of us at least can. So that's all I need to know to use a condom. But yes, it's true. Trans men can still get pregnant. Many of us. So that's all I need to hear, and I'm using a condom. But I don't think it's really going to make a difference. I think people are going to do what they're going to do. If they're not going to use them, I don't think this is going to change their minds.
So the ease of self-lubrication you don't think will matter?
No, because is it really that hard to, grab some lube now?
Well, apparently
that's not helping.
for a lot of people it is. Other thoughts? Self-lubricating.
I think it's on the edge of actually doing something that's even potentially more powerful, because if you can accomplish that, then you can probably accomplish adding medication or anti-whatever, right? So that you reduce health risks as well.
But the question is, do you think self-lubricating condoms will increase the use of a condom?
Yes.
You do think?
I do.
I think they're less likely to break, and anyone who's had a condom break on them and experienced that terror is hopefully in the same boat as, good, that's a good thing. But as someone who's also misophobic, I don't like touching the lube
Define
bottle.
misophobic.
I'm germophobic. I don't like touching the lube bottle after my hand has been in somebody. So it's, I know, it's gross, isn't it? So it's much nicer to just be like, okay, I can put it on my dick, I don't have to lube it up every 5 minutes, and my hand can stay nice and clean so I can pet my hair.
Any final thoughts, Howard? No thoughts? All right, we're going to watch and see if it has any effect. All right, we're going to now play one of our favorite games, which is called Drinks Drink. And before we tell you about the game we're going to play, let's watch this.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Drink Bar in beautiful Wicked Manors, Florida. My name's Aaron. I'll be your mixologist today. Tonight on the menu we have a smoked old fashioned. We use bullet bourbon and a little bit of simple syrup. A couple dashes of bitters. Most important part of the cocktail is the smoked cedar wood. The cedar wood gives it a nice oaky smoked flavor to the cocktail. We achieve this by heating up the wood and trapping the smoke. So now all we got to do is mix up the cocktail. We're good to go. And look at that smoke. Look at that. Garnish it with a fresh orange wedge and a couple of cherries, and bam, there is your smoked old fashioned.
We love this game. Tonight, we hope you're playing at home. Have a cocktail, glass of wine, whatever you would like. As you saw, tonight's beverage is the classic smoked old fashioned. Our game is designed to ask if you agree or disagree. And if you agree with our questions, then you pick up your drink and have a sip. And that's how we play. If you don't agree, you leave your drink alone and you don't touch it.
I'm gonna just agree with everything because that's really good.
All right, all right. All right, so everybody knows how to play. Let's go. Drinks, drink, question number 1. In light of our top story tonight and the fact voting is Tuesday is going to be a hassle, I have already voted.
Don't ooh. I like to go on the day of. I like to be part of the festivities.
Exactly. And I knew that because Power had a very powerful post and showing the sticker. Great.
You didn't vote yet?
I have not voted yet.
Oh, man.
I have to vote in Sarasota.
Absentee ballot.
All right, well that's true. All right, second question, drinks, drink. This weekend we fall back into daylight savings. The question, we should just do away with daylight savings time because it's more hassle than it's worth.
Oh, yeah.
Florida passed that law, by the way.
Ooh, that's delicious.
Isn't it?
Which will be a question in a minute, by the way. Drinks, drink, question 3. Healthy lifestyles. I prefer the gym versus getting out and doing it on my own, jogging, running, or biking. I prefer the gym.
I get my cardio in the bedroom.
Aaron, just in case you didn't hear it,
Sorry.
gets her cardio. He gets his.
Thank you. Everybody shame him for
Shame
me,
me.
so I don't have to always do it.
Thank you. I apologize. You know.
Okay, it's all right. It's all
All
right.
right. I'm working on it.
Violence is not the answer yet.
Violence can solve a lot of things. I
Right.
wanna be clear about
Exactly.
that.
Violence.
Violence is a helpful tool.
All
That's
right.
why I said yet.
Drinks, drink, question 4. Truth tester. Sometimes I drink in drinks, drink, even if I don't agree, because the beverage is that damn good.
But not about Trump.
All right. Question 5. In a normal 40-hour week job, I would rather work the weekends but have 2 weekdays off rather than the opposite. I would rather have 2 days and work the weekend so I could have middle week days. I agree with that. I'd rather not have to work the weekend.
Can you say that again, John?
I feel like I need to
not
look at the
going to.
producer and understand the repercussions
All right.
of this context.
Drinks, drink 6. The Black Panther is the sexiest Marvel hero.
Oh, yes.
Wait, question to the audience: is Shuri the Black Panther yet?
Wait, we're making a black joke here.
Is that yes?
Okay.
I don't know.
All
Thor
right.
is in there.
I'll take it as
Okay.
yes.
Follow up. It's Thor.
Thor.
There we
Yeah,
go.
sorry. Yeah.
Follow up. Follow up. It's Iron Man, Tony Stark. He is so bright.
Hold up, wait.
No.
Follow up. It's Captain America.
Oh, God.
Okay.
It's a banana split.
All right. We need another.
You've not seen
America.
drinks.
All right. Question, drinks, drink number 7. What I'm about to ask is very heated. It's really a heated subject.
Oh boy.
Let's try to keep our cool and not have any outbursts. Deep breath. This is a game. It's a completely important question. Here we go. Pancakes are better than waffles.
Oh, fuck yeah.
No way. No way.
Oh my
I
god.
love my Belgian waffle.
Okay.
Yes, they are.
Last question. Drinks, drink this week. Question number 8. It's a little bit harder to make a live show on location than we expected for Halloween.
I predicted.
Now the funny thing is I haven't even gotten to the damn question yet.
Oh, John.
Well,
It's harder to make a live show on the location than we expected for Halloween, but it was totally worth it.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Cheers, Wicked Manors and Wilton Manors.
Cheers.
To seeing you next year, guys, and also next Thursday.
All right, so we have finished our show for tonight. We're a little tired, but I think the conversation was interesting. We want to make sure that we again congratulate Wilton Manors and Fort Lauderdale for being the top gay Halloween destination in America. And it was announced last night. We want to tell you one thing that you don't know, and you never see them. Last night was so unbelievably challenging for a show like this. You don't see a show like this anywhere in America. No one's tried this before. This is hard. It just is. And when you take it outside in front of 30,000 people, it's like the ultimate of hard.
Like
all of us as hosts of It's Happening Out take a moment to congratulate our technical team that pulled off last night with the tremendous challenges that they had.
You guys are rock stars!
We're only using their first names, but we want to mention all of them. Darren, Steve, Jared, Alex, David, and Chris, last night at Wilton Manors and Wicked Manors, you did an awesome job, and this city really thanks you for bringing It's Happening Out to the street of Wilton Drive. So that's our show tonight. We hope you've enjoyed it. We hope we have been entertaining for you and informative and educational. And on behalf of Power Infinity,
good night, children.
And Aaron Phoenix.
Good night, gender fuckers.
Which we love what you said tonight about our participation. And my friend Napoleon Plays.
Good night, Ellen DeGeneres. I want to come dance with you.
And my new friend from the Log Cabin Republicans, Joe Brookman.
Good night. It's all about family.
And I'm Al Ferguson. I just want to tell everyone, if it's important to you, we are all about our gay culture. We are really a gay community. And we just need to be continued to be reminded of that fact. And so therefore, if it's important to our gay community, it's happening out. Good night, America.